this video is really just an update because finishing this model has taken a lot longer than I thought. So there will be one more part where you see all the work being done, but I just kind of want to catch up on the progress, where we're at, and kind of show the detailing that's been done. So I have stolen an unditching log from a Meng T-72B1 or 2, I don't remember, but I've got, you can't have a Soviet tank without a log, so I grabbed that. I had to move some Pioneer tools over to this bin over here where there already were some. I also grabbed the tow cable from that T-72 because there wasn't one that came with the kit, and again, this is not a realistic tank at all, but in order to add a little bit of realism, so I did that. I also had to create some brackets out of solder wire along the side of the hull to hold that on there. So we've got a tow cable there. The paint job, that I went with, the explanation will be in the big version of the video there. But we did a Soviet Cold War era forest scheme, and there's a reason why these colors were used, and we'll talk about that later on. One of the things that was missing from this tank was plumbing to get fuel from the external fuel drums into the engine, so I created that, and we'll talk about that in the main video. I spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to get a realistic weathered wood look on this box here and on the log and stuff, and I bought this Vallejo set just for it. They've got some really nice instructions in there. Mainly it has to do with airbrushing though, so I just used some of the colors and really just messed around, and I'm happy. I think it came out pretty good, but I don't know, I spent way much more time than I should have just trying to weather up this crate, but you know what, I wanted a nice detail there, so I think it looks okay. Another thing you'll see in the the big video, the final build video when it's released, is I primed the whole thing with Vallejo Russian 4BO, which is a very dark green. Used some chipping fluid, Vallejo chipping fluid, and then I painted on the 3-color camouflage, and then chipped it, and then I did some dry brushing with some ammo gunmetal to reveal, especially on the plow surfaces here, bare metal all throughout, and then little bits of rust, of Panzer Aces dark rust, and then some actual Vallejo track wash, which is a rusty color. Again, especially up in the exposed bare metal areas, but then just in some of the metallic exposed areas around the tank as well, just to give it a very well worn in the field look. Now I know that this is much more weathered than you see on most normal tanks of a professional army, having served in an armored unit myself, but this is, again, caricature is the word that I'm using here, and I've used it with other models before, because this is such an extreme kind of character of a tank. I'm giving it a real extreme look. I kind of lost one of the spare tracks. I think I actually threw it out on the sprue before I cut it off, but I decided to make up for that with some stowage. We don't normally see that on Soviet tanks, but I decided, there's only one flat area where they would put it if they could. So this is actually from a Verlinden US Abrams stowage set, but the pieces just sort of fit really nicely. So I painted them up in various colors, and then used a little Citadel Agrex Earthshade just to shade them a little bit. And what I will do when I'm all finished is I'll make some tie-down straps to actually secure them here. They won't just be sitting there, obviously. The reason I left these missile tubes fairly unblemished is because I'm going with their anti-tank guided weapon, guided missile kind of idea. And a lot of the Soviet weapons come in these disposable polymer kind of plastic kind of tubes, and that's what I'm thinking they are. So they wouldn't show, a lot of chipped paint or anything like that. But you can see that on the metal racks that support them, I've got some chipped paint, and it's kind of hard to see, but on the metal, assembly that holds them on, I did that, and that's just me trying to tell a story, of the tank itself. Got the smoke launchers painted. I'm really happy with the way it's coming out and looking so far, especially with the, I did put a little damage on the plow blades here. Originally, I wasn't even sure if I was going to use these because I just thought they looked so over the top, but I think they really look good, with the finished kind of camouflage scheme and everything. I also added a little bit of stowage back here too. I can't remember where that came from, to tell you the truth, but I just had it. So this is where I'm at right now. Oh, and then the very, very, this is kind of at a place for a modern armored vehicle exhaust, but when we do see exhaust like this, what usually happens is the high heat basically cooks off the paint, it exposes bare metal, and it gets very, very rusty. This is a very World War II, Korean War era kind of way to do tank exhaust, but the way I did this is, again, painting with the Panzer Aces Dark Rust, and then Vallejo Track Wash on top, and it gives you a very realistic looking and almost textured, heavy rusted look. And you do it so that there's just a little bit on the protective grill over there, a little bit of the actual paint showing through because it's not all rusted off yet, but it's going to look really good, especially when we put our washes and some soot and weathering and stuff on there. So I'm very excited with the way this is coming out, and I think it's going to look great when it's all finished. It's been a long time since I got an update of this thing done, so I wanted to take a moment just to kind of show where we're at with the detailing and the work on it. So the next step is going to be to get a gloss clear coat on here so that we can start with some washes and decals, then some washes. Then it'll be just about ready to finalize, to get it all matte and dull, and then work on lenses and optics and stuff like that as a last step. We'll be all set. So I hope those of you who are interested in the first parts of this as we're working on it are still interested in seeing how it turns out, and I thank you for your patience. There's just a lot been going on in getting this guy done with a lot of household stuff and everything, but it's almost ready. So thanks for hanging in there, and I will get this thing finished up and the final build part done and posted as soon as I can. Remember to keep building them and build them well, and I'll see you again with the final product real soon.